Hello everyone, it's Imaginary Doodles, and in today's video, I'm going to be drawing Pokemon Fusion. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, and to be honest, it felt weird to say. I don't know, it felt unfinished, but I don't know. I hope I say everything that I said in the last recording because I did try to record this one other time, but after I was done recording, I realized while I was editing, for some reason in the background, you could hear a lot of background noises, not like you could hear people or anything, but you could hear this background static noise. I don't know, it was a weird noise that my microphone was making, and I didn't like that, so I decided to just redo it. So hopefully I don't forget anything. If I do, if I do, I guess I just forgot. Okay, so how I found this generator is I was watching one of S Comic Maker's streams, and in that stream, she was drawing Pokemon fusions that were based off of the Pokemon she would get from this Pokemon generator. I will try to link the generator down below, but I'm not really sure if I can find it again because for some reason I can't find S Comic Maker's stream anymore. I probably should have saved the link. But, you know, I wasn't thinking. I was thinking that she'd have it up for forever, so I didn't think I really had to save the link. And plus, also, I thought I was going to pre-upload this video a lot earlier than I actually did because I sort of procrastinated. In a way, I sort of procrastinated, but also I wasn't really procrastinating. I was spending some of that time finishing my sketchbook because I had to play a lot of catch-up because someone decided not to draw 2 pages a day. So, yeah, I guess that just shows my bad time management, which, oh gosh. Which I honestly, now I'm looking through this sketchbook, I hardly use any watercolor. Actually, I guess I wouldn't say hardly, but I didn't use as much watercolor as I could have. I honestly should have used more watercolor because now in the newer sketchbook that I'm working on, I can't use watercolor at all. I mean, I guess I could use watercolor, but I just don't like how it looks. In that live stream, S Comic Maker said she was going to draw 6 different Pokemon fusions, and basically she was saying that those were the 6 government-issued Pokemon. So, basically those would be her 6 starters. And right now, I'm just going to tell you guys what my 6 starters would be. And don't worry, I'll also show the ones that I drew off screen right now on camera. So my 6 starter Pokemon would be Dragontails, Munite, Venopuff, Clefbazoar, Cloywag, and Dugworld. So yeah, those are my 6 Pokemon. Some look a little more interesting than others, but overall, I would be kind of excited to use these Pokemon. I'm kind of curious what moves and types they would be. So I could have thought of that myself, but you know, I was a little too lazy to do all that work. So for most of the fusion Pokemon that I drew, I did take some creative freedoms or creative liberties, however you say the word, those 2 words. What the generator does is the body of the second Pokemon is what the fusion's body will look like, and then the face and color palette of the first Pokemon is what will be on the fusion Pokemon. So I don't know if I explained that very well, but I'll show it to you on screen right now. For most of them besides Dugworld, I didn't really like how it did that. For example, with Clefbazoar, I added a little curl for her, and with Cloywag, I added a little horn. I could have used alcohol markers with Munite, Venopuff, and Dragontails if I knew I was going to use alcohol markers with them, but since I wasn't really planning on coloring them, and I wasn't even planning on drawing them, so that's why I didn't really plan accordingly, and if I did use alcohol markers, it would just bleed onto them. I wasn't planning on it, so that's why I didn't color them. I think Ahuhu markers are really growing on me. I guess I can't really say I'm really into Ahuhu markers because I've literally only done, in the past week or so, I've only done 3 alcohol marker illustrations. So, well, technically if we count individually, I guess it's technically 6, but I've only done 6, so I haven't really done a lot, and it doesn't really help that my new sketchbook that I have, it's just, I can't really use alcohol markers in that sketchbook because, I mean, I guess I could use alcohol markers in that sketchbook, but the problem is, the reason why I don't want to use them in that sketchbook is because it feathers like crazy. On the Canson Mixed Media sketchbook, it does feather a little bit, but with my newer sketchbook, it goes out like crazy. It's honestly as bad as my sketchbook that I used before this sketchbook, and I didn't really like how much that sketchbook bled. I don't like how it feathers, and it just looks bad. And also, maybe it was just a marker, but it looked like one alcohol marker was sort of like breaking down or something. Like, it looked like you could see like brown and red in it. Maybe it was just the marker itself, but it looked a little weird on the paper. My watercolors don't even work in that sketchbook, which watercolor is my favorite medium, and I can't even use that. And also, it's like honestly perfect timing because next month is World Watercolor Month, and I won't even be able to use watercolors in my sketchbook. So luckily I do have some watercolor paper, and I'll just use that paper. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe, and even my color pencils don't even look good on that paper. I don't even like how my color pencils look on there. I don't even like how my Prismacolor Cool Erase pencils look on there either. So I can't use any color in that sketchbook unless I can just get past the feathering and get past the weird texture with the watercolors. I am going to try to do like a full illustration with the watercolors in that newer sketchbook, and so that way I can make my final opinion. But as of now, I can only use like fine liners and mechanical pencil in that sketchbook. I think pencils and mechanical pencils work the best in that sketchbook because for some reason, I guess it's because of the texture of the paper, but whenever I try to smudge it and see if it'll smudge, it doesn't really smudge. So I guess that is a positive, but at the same time, I don't really use pencils much anyway. So even my fine liners feather a little bit on that paper. It does feather a little bit, but I don't think it really looks bad. And the sad thing is, I was sort of excited to use this sketchbook because I started off, because I mean, I was smart, and I started off writing my goals out first. And I was planning on swatching out all my supplies first before I started writing my goals in my sketchbook. But of course, I decided to convince myself to do the goals first. And then, of course, one of my goals said use color in my sketchbook, and now I can't truly use color in my sketchbook. And the thing is, the sketchbook that I bought says it's a mixed media sketchbook. So I don't know why, if it's a mixed media sketchbook, then why is it looking so weird? Why, whenever I use watercolors, it looks like it's sort of tearing the paper? If you guys hear any noises in the background, I'm so sorry about that. Of course, whenever I want to record, everybody else wants to make noise too. So, I mean, nobody can work with me here. So, I guess, oh well, because I'm still going to use that sketchbook since I did pay money. I guess at least since my sketchbook doesn't work the way I want it to, at least this gives me a chance to use some of the paper that I don't really use that often. Like, for example, now I'm able to use my watercolor paper, and also I'm able to use my cardstock paper, which I got specifically for my alcohol marker. I actually remembered what I wanted to say. I did try to add some colored highlights and some shading with my alcohol markers, and they didn't end up turning out very well. For example, the highlights that I did for Clef Bazaar, the highlight was a little too yellow, so it ended up turning out a little weird. And Chloe Wag, I just don't know what happened with him. And Doug World, don't even ask. I tried, and it ended up looking odd. I think that's the last thing I needed to say, and I'll see you guys in my next video.